He was the most brilliant engineer in Athens, and he was flogged to death for being right. Arguments rarely change minds, they entrench them. When you argue, even if you're right, you ignite resentment. In power, victory is not about proving you're right, it's about achieving your goal. And the quiet stroke of action achieves more than 1,000 words. In 131 BC, the Roman consul, Publius Crassus Dives Mucianus, was laying siege to the Greek city of Pergamon. He needed a battering ram, fast. He remembered 2 massive ship masts in Athens and ordered the larger one be sent. But the military engineer receiving the order thought the smaller mast would work better. He argued with the soldiers, drew diagrams, insisted he knew best. Eventually, reluctantly, he agreed to send the larger one, or so he said. But then, in secret, he sent the smaller one anyway, convinced the consul would see his genius and reward him. When the smaller mast arrived, Mucianus exploded with rage. This wasn't just a mistake, it was defiance. The engineer was summoned to explain himself. He proudly laid out his reasoning again. Charts, logic, science. The consul listened, then had him stripped naked and beaten to death in front of the troops. His mistake? Not the mast. But believing that being right gave him power, he argued when he should have obeyed. He chose persuasion over perception. In the year 1502, in the heart of Florence, a giant block of marble stood untouched, silent, lifeless, and scarred. Once destined to become a masterpiece, it now gathered dust in the dark recesses of Santa Maria del Fiore. Why? Because a lesser sculptor had ruined it, drilling a hole where the legs should have been, mangling the proportions, killing its promise. For years, the city's greatest minds, including Leonardo da Vinci, had dismissed it as a hopeless wreck, until one man arrived and saw something no one else could. Michelangelo Buonarroti, not yet a legend, but already whispered of as a genius, stood before the mutilated stone and smiled. He saw not a mistake, but a challenge. He saw David. Against all advice, Michelangelo convinced the Florentine authorities to let him work the block. Day and night, he sculpted. Not just a statue, but a message. That vision can rise from ruin. Weeks passed, then came a test of a different kind. Piero Soderini, a proud Florentine official, arrived to inspect the work. David was nearly complete, towering, magnificent. But Soderini had a complaint. He believed the nose was too large. It disrupted the harmony, he said. Michelangelo knew it was perfect, but he also understood power. Correcting a man like Soderini could cause more damage than a chisel ever could. So, without protest, Michelangelo climbed the scaffold. On the way up, he quietly gathered marble dust from the floor. At the top, he mimed a few careful taps near the nose, letting the dust fall. A performance, nothing more. Soderini watched from below, convinced he'd improved the masterpiece. The statue remained untouched, but Michelangelo had preserved his vision and Soderini's pride. Because power isn't always about force. Sometimes it's knowing when to create the illusion of change, to protect what matters most. The urge to argue is ego, not strategy. Every public debate risks exposing weakness, creating enemies, or escalating conflict you don't need. Silence often speaks louder. Precision beats volume. Action wins. The engineer at Pergamon argued. He explained. He insisted. And he was flogged to death. Michelangelo kept his masterpiece intact, and Soderini's ego too. How do you win through action? Demonstrate, don't declare. Let your results speak. Nothing silences critics like undeniable success. Respond with results. When challenged, don't retaliate. Do better. Deliver more. Choose your battles. Most arguments don't need to be won, they need to be walked away from. Control the frame. In every situation, the one who acts, rather than reacts, owns the narrative. Law number 9 teaches us, words are noise. Action is power. In history, in business, in life, those who achieve silently command more than those who shout. Let your wins echo louder than any argument ever could. Strivor. We tell the stories history tried to bury, and power never forgets.